Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's top stories, in China, Sichuan city volunteers are carrying out city's first large-scale aid distribution in Chonglai City to help 3,500 residents. City volunteers in Texas of the United States hand out cash cards to victims of the recent explosion in the town of West. And we see how Taiwan's government neglects to reinforce laws that protect our environment in favor of economic benefits. First up, in China, following the Ya'an earthquake on April 20th, Sichuan city volunteers have visited the disaster zones to better understand the needs of local residents. On April 23rd, city's first large-scale aid distribution after the tremor was held at Gaohe town in Chonglai City, helping 3,500 residents from 950 households. This time, each family received 2 blankets and a relief pack.
This is the scene at the distribution site in Gaohe town, Chonglai City. Early in the morning, quake survivors are already waiting in line to receive the promised aid supplies. Knowing that this help came all the way from Taiwan, the senior is moved.
Thank you for supporting us. I will never forget you. I'm so happy.
The temperature in the evening in Gaohe town is less than 10 degrees. Therefore, every household receives 2 blankets in addition to the aid packages. The volunteers also thoughtfully prepare baby formula for those with infants. Since villagers have established a village-wide cooking group, all the rice and cooking oil were placed at the cooking area.
I received drinking water, baby formula, blankets, and daily necessities. I don't know how long these can last.
For Tzu Ji, this was the first large-scale relief distribution held in the wake of the Ya'an earthquake. In total, 950 households where more than 3,500 people received help. From carrying out disaster assessments, gathering relief items, and holding an aid distribution, everything was handled by the Sichuan city volunteers.
The relief items are limited, but our love and care for all of you is unlimited. We hope the aid supplies can bring a sense of warmth to everyone's heart.
Although the road to recovery is still long, city volunteers promise to stay by the victim's side throughout this difficult time.
Prior to the distribution at Gaohe town of Chonglai City, relief items and blankets donated by RT Mart and DaAi Technology, both Taiwan corporations whose branch offices is located in the cities of Meisan and Shifang, arrived at the disaster area the night before. Upon seeing the aid supplies, local residents all reached a helping hand with the unloading.
To help the quake survivors living in Chonglai City, a truckload of relief items donated by RT Mart were sent to Kaohsiung village. Despite the long distance, the driver of the truck says he was very happy to help.
I drove around 160 to 170 kilometers to get here. I'm a bit tired, but thinking about the quake survivors in hardship, it was all worthwhile. We need to contribute our share to help those in need.
Seeing the villagers helping each other, I'm very touched. In spite of the suffering, everyone still works hand in hand to help each other carry all the relief items. It's great to see.
Other than the relief items donated by RT Mart, blankets from Shifang City also arrived at Kaohsiung village. Seeing the aid supplies, villagers immediately helped with the unloading.
Tzu Ji volunteers' love and support gives us the strength to carry on. All of you came from afar to deliver these aid supplies to us. I am very happy and not tired at all. The villages have started a cooking unit so they can cook hot meals for themselves, but they lack rice and cooking oil. Therefore, we provided them with these items as well as baby formula. Many have forgotten that there are babies in these villages, and a nearby village has more than 30 children.
This time around, relief items include 2,000 blankets, rice, cooking oil, toothbrushes, and other daily necessities. Thanks to love from around the world, the disaster victims' hearts and stomachs are now filled with warmth.
As relief items pour into the hard-hit areas of the recent earthquake in China's Sichuan province, city volunteers also arrived to carry out an aid distribution and bring emotional support to local residents in Lushan. After deciding to set up a temporary support center for children, volunteers received help from other organizations and a local kindergarten and were able to bring smiles to children in the disaster areas through pictures and songs. With crayons in hand, children here at the support center are drawing what they remember of their homes.
The factory is completely destroyed, it has collapsed, and the balcony to our house has also collapsed.
The colorful images are a source of spiritual support for these children. And they are all smiles as they sing along with city volunteers.
The continuing aftershocks is frightening for everyone here, so we hope through these activities of singing Tzu Chi songs and drawing pictures to shift the children's focus to something that's more positive.
Tzu Chi volunteers first set up a children's support service center in Lushan using tarpaulin. Luckily, a disaster relief team from Chongqing provided a makeshift tent, and the principal of a local kindergarten also did her part by bringing desks and chairs for the children to use.
I was deeply moved, so I felt that whatever was needed, as long as we are capable of providing it, we will do our best to help.
Seeing their children's smiles is an encouragement for parents as they set foot on their path to recovery. Among the Tzu Chi volunteers carrying out aid distributions in China's Sichuan province is Jiang Xiaolei, who also took part in the relief efforts after the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake. Following a failure in running her restaurant business, Jiang began reflecting on her life and soon after decided to follow Master Zheng Yan's footsteps. In the aftermath of the Ya'an earthquake, Jiang joined other volunteers at relief work and vowed to accompany her fellow countrymen through this difficult time.
Having had less than 4 hours of sleep, volunteers set off to the distribution site. 1.5 hours later, they arrived at Gaoxing village of Gaohe Township and later joined a meeting with volunteers from all over China. Among them is Jiang Xiaolei, who once devoted herself to the disaster relief following the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake.
Right after the Wenchuan earthquake hit, I mobilized my employees to cook hot meals for the quake victims for about 10 days. Later, more and more Tzu Chi volunteers came to help, so I discontinued my aid to the victims.
Having failed in her business, now Jiang has found a renewed sense of confidence after fully devoting herself to Tzu Chi.
When you are pursuing personal achievements or wealth, you should think about what's the point behind such achievements and wealth. What can you take away when you leave this world? People only start reflecting themselves following difficulties or setbacks.
Though suffering from a setback in her business, Jiang seized the opportunity to join Tzu Chi and became a certified volunteer last year. In the wake of the Ya'an earthquake, Jiang decided to fully dedicate herself to relief work.
I remember my Tzu Chi brothers and sisters once told me that being a volunteer, you should not think highly of your own contributions. This is what I keep in mind all the time.
This is Wu Piyue, another volunteer who was inspired by Tzu Chi's work in the aftermath of the Wenchuan earthquake.
I saw how Tzu Chi volunteers respectfully handed out lunch boxes to the quake victims, and then they bowed in this way. It really moved me.
Moved by the Tzu Chi volunteers' dedication, Wu Piyue later joined Tzu Chi. Joining Tzu Chi not only has helped her cultivate patience, but also reinforced her beliefs.
I really cherish my affinity with Tzu Chi and Master Zheng Yan. I will devote the rest of my life to volunteer work. Now I am proud of Tzu Chi, and I believe I will make Tzu Chi proud of me in the future.
Moving to the United States following an explosion at a fertilizer plant in the town of West Texas, 142 houses were destroyed and 51 houses suffered major damage. In the aftermath of the explosion, besides handing out relief items to the victims, city volunteers from the City Dallas chapter also distributed cash cards at a nearby community center.
An explosion at a fertilizer plant affected the lives of local residents here in the town of West Texas. To help, volunteers from the City Dallas chapter carried out a cash card distribution at a local community center. City's cash cards will go to aid the injured residents and those whose houses were damaged by the explosion.
大概在100码之内，那一栋的apartment 就是
Within 100 yards from the explosion site, 50 houses were destroyed. We will first aid these victims. As well, some other houses were shaken by the tremor, which caused structural damage to their houses.
都已经受损了。
According to the latest report from the Texas Emergency Operations Center, the explosion damaged almost 350 houses, forcing 2,700 residents to evacuate. 5 days following the explosion, many residents are still staying at the hotels or relatives' homes.
About 10 minutes to 8. My little grandson, he comes in there, he said, Papa, there's a big fire. By the time we got to the corner, everything blew. But if it wouldn't have been for that little one, we wouldn't be here now. We get back to the house and it's gone.
Mine was at home. Silly fell into the thing. The little glass scratched me on my knee.
Is that scary?
Yeah, so that's all of it.
When I got there and saw my dad, he was all right. But the people that were around there, some of them were blood everywhere. So.
With some of those cards, I'm going to go get us some clothes to go to the funerals. Because we're going to make the funerals.
All of y'all are so good.
I love you people.
And thank y'all for everything that y'all have done. Greatly appreciate it.
Facing their ruined homes, these residents still give each other encouragement and support. As they say, together they will get through this difficult time.
Back to China, Xiamen City volunteers have been paying regular visits to nursing homes in the area for over 4 years. These visits have moved 72-year-old Yan Jihua, who not only joined the volunteers in caring for nursing home residents, but has also decided to go one step further and sign up for a volunteer training course.
Happily wearing a volunteer's vest is 72-year-old Yan Jihua. Joining him is a distant relative, Yan Miaozhu, who lost her legs in a car accident and now lives and volunteers at the same nursing home as Yan Jihua. Residents are all smiles as they are served tea.
I'm more excitable and she's more calm, so we make a great team. She can help me with my personality and also I can help her with hers. That way we both improve as we help others.
In giving them our love, we can see if they can forward that love to others around them. Yan Jihua first moved into this nursing home to be with his adopted mother. 4 years ago he met Tzu Ji and, inspired by their work, decided to join Tzu Ji's volunteer training program this year.
There is no feeling of hypocrisy here. You can feel they are real and that they are friends you can depend on.
Getting on stage to share his vows, Yan Jihua hopes that in the future, as a Tzu Ji volunteer, people will no longer call him grandfather, but brother. Finding a new life at 70, Yan Jihua shows us that it is never too late to be young again.
In Taiwan's Taichung, 16-year-old Lin was involved in a vehicle accident last November and suffered severe injuries. Such was the seriousness of his condition that the boy's family even considered donating his organs if he didn't make it. However, medical staff from 7 different departments at the Taichung Tzu Ji Hospital worked together and miraculously brought the boy back to life. In a vehicle accident 5 months ago, 16-year-old Lin was left with severe injuries, including brain hemorrhage and fractures to every part of his body.
At one point, the patient was in a state of mydriasis, and we felt obliged to let the family know the danger he was in, and they signed a consent form to not go through with resuscitation.
When the boy was in a critical condition, his mother also considered donating his organs.
When I saw him, his head was 3 times bigger than normal, and so were his eyes. He looked really terrible, and it broke my heart to see him like that.
Nevertheless, medical staff from 7 different departments did not give up in trying to bring Lin back to life.
We did our best in treating the patient, so after a few days, he was in a more stable condition, and his brain hypertension slowly returned to normal as well.
Apart from reducing Lin's brain pressure, doctors from the radiology department also managed to stop his arteries from bleeding, and orthopedists also carried out surgeries to mend his fractured bones. Chinese medicine was also used in treating the boy.
5 days after his accident, we added Chinese herbal extracts to his treatment. After 2 to 3 weeks, when his condition became more stable, we then gave him acupuncture therapy, and the results were quite positive.
Thanks to the concerted efforts of medical staff, Lin was able to transfer out of the intensive care unit into the general ward and is now doing rehab every day to fully regain his health. City volunteers in the Philippines have begun rehearsals for the upcoming Buddha Day ceremony in May, and among the 473 performers taking part are TGK recipients from Manila and local volunteers from Quezon City. At a recent rehearsal, everyone's love came together regardless of their faith as they prayed for victims of the Ya'an earthquake in Sichuan, China.
In sincere prayer for the disaster victims of the Ya'an earthquake in Sichuan, local Filipinos can relate to their suffering.
We will all grow old, and most of us are most frightened of death.
The Buddha Day celebration rehearsal saw everyone's love come together as they continue to perfect their movements amid the 36 degrees Celsius heat. A TGK recipient who suffers from coronary heart disease says he felt particularly peaceful during the rehearsals.
I'm a Catholic, but when I'm at these events, I find serenity and calm as if I'm at church.
For me, the Buddha is divine, just like Allah. That's why I want to be a part of the celebration. With diligent practice and realization of the meaning behind the Buddhist scriptures, the right path has been made clearer for all. In the recent years, Taiwan's government has put boosting economical benefits ahead of environmental protection. Such examples are the excessive limestone mining in Hualien and the overdevelopment of tourist attractions in Ali Mountain. Although Taiwan's laws clearly state unrenewable resources must be monitored and protected, sometimes governing bodies will turn a blind eye to such laws in favor of future economic benefits.
On August 2, 2012, as Typhoon Saola swept across Taiwan, many areas in Hualien's Shoulin Township were destroyed in a massive landslide. Experts say excessive mining of limestone in that area might have contributed to the devastation.
Originally, the land might have been dense with plenty of vegetation, so when rain saturates the area, not much happens. Yet when the vegetation has been removed, along with soil disturbance, the area becomes unstable.
At 1,300 meters above sea level, these dump trucks transport limestone, the main ingredient in cement, out of the quarry. Looking at the landscape, it looks like the mining crew is constructing a staircase to the sky.
On top, we mine in different levels, and it ends up looking like a stairway.
This is the result of the government's plan in the 1980s to move more industry to the East Coast. What originally was a beautiful mountain range and oceanside has since changed due to mining disturbances.
It causes many ecological disorders, not only locally, such as losing water resources with loose soil, but also sets off a chain reaction, impacting downstreams and upstream areas.
Taiwan's Environmental Constitution Supervision Act, Article 19 states, government agencies shall adopt preventive measures to protect non-renewable resources. If these said resources are overused or nearly exhausted, routine inspections must be carried out for monitoring and restrictive measures or improvements must be made. Although mining falls within this category, it seems as if nothing has been done to see that the mining industry adheres to this guideline. Meanwhile, because of the unique soil property in Hualien, the area is home to many different opal mines. Along the streams that crisscrosses the county, there are 49 opal mines, and adding the marble and limestone quarries, the county alone has over 100 mining sites. Besides excessive mining practices, tourism in Taiwan is also placing immense pressure on the land. Ali Mountain is a perfect example. Ali Mountain is originally home to the Zhou tribe and is known for its beautiful sunrises and mountain trails. Since 1976, it has become a top tourist destination for those who visit Taiwan.
This area is already at full capacity. There's no more room for building additional houses or projects. Stop destroying this forest.
In 2006, Taiwan's government turned a blind eye to further destruction of Ali Mountain's ecological environment, proposing a partnership with the private sector to build an additional resort on the 2.2-hectare piece of land near Zhaoping train station.
First of all, how many trees will you destroy? Second, Alishan area is already deprived of water, and you suggest building a water reservoir. How much money will you spend on that? Billions, trillions?
Even though the proposed plans to develop the land around Zhaoping Station has been discarded, yet if Taiwan citizens continue to put economic boost ahead of environmental concerns, how much more can the island withstand before it's too late?
We stay in Taiwan at the end of the show. At the Hewei Recycling Station in Tainan, recycling volunteers designed a large storage cabinet to help tidy up the station's environment and invited students of the community's parent and child class to come and paint the exterior surface of the cabinet. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.